Good morning. I will review the unit pretest and give you some explanation to help you with Friday, May 22nd's math pages that follow this one. So we are learning a new concept. We talked about slope and y-intercept. We're going to identify the equation for a linear function. So I'm going to do my notes like I usually do. 8.ee.B.5 linear functions. We've been working in our math book on a couple pages of the format of them. We know that an equation has to be balanced on both sides. Typically, you will have a y equals, a number and a letter. The whole goal of this is to make sure that whatever is on one side is balanced to the other, kind of like a teeter-totter, okay? We want to keep it balanced. So if one side equals 5, the other side's values have to equal 5, whatever they are. For this linear equations, the equation looks like y equals mx plus b. We can recognize a couple similar letters in there, the x and the y. When we do coordinates in a graph, when we're graphing, we have our x and our y axis. So your x and your y will give you points on a grid. There's spots where the line's running through. Also, we have a new one, which is m. M is weird. M tells you your slope. Okay, when you go sledding or you go to the water park, the slope of the slide, how fast it goes down, how slow it goes down, we can measure that. We call it a rise over run. So a rise over run, it will typically be shown as a fraction like it is in these ones up here. So these are the slopes. If you see a whole number like a 2, it's actually can be written as 2 over 1. So that we're going to learn about that a little bit. Just like up here, we have a 2 over a 1. So my slope would be rising 2, running 1. We will demonstrate this as we move forward. So m equals the slope. It's your rise over your run. It tells me if my line is going up, how fast or how slow, and it tells me if my line is going down, how fast or how slow. This obviously would be a positive slope. This would be a negative slope. So what is the B? I'm not sure what is the B. We will use this pink for the B. Actually, yes, we'll use the pink for the B. So the B tells me, where does my line cross on the y-axis? It's called the y-intercept. Okay, it tells me that my line crosses at -2. So the y is it tells me where my line's crossing through on this axis so that I don't have a line way over here. My line is going to actually cross through my y-axis somewhere on there. I will demonstrate 1 or 2 of these just to give you an example, but so that we know it will always be in this format so that we know how to graph it best as we move forward. It's a lot to understand. We'll go step by step. Let me just walk you through 2 of these. And then we will move forward. So for this first one here, my slope is always before my x. So my slope is 2 over 3. So I will rise 2 and run 3. They're both positive, so I'm going up, and then positive is to the right, just like on a number line. What my graph is saying for this one is my line crosses through +1 on my y-axis. So make sure this is your y. So on 1, I am going to put a dot. That's where my line's going to cross through. And from that point, I have to go rise 2, run 3, rise 2, run 3. So I'm going to go rise 2, 1, 2, and run 3 to the right. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put a line, a dot right there. I don't have enough to go up, so I can make both of these negative to go the opposite way. I'm going to go 1, 2, negative, 1, 2, 3, negative. And now I've made a series of 3 dots. If I connect these 3 dots, I'm able to make a line. I will draw my line with this blue pen. So I have a line, because we know 2 negatives make a positive. My line will look like this. So now this simple equation right here created a graph, a line on a graph for me. There are all kinds of graphs. There are graphs that squiggle like this. There are graphs that squiggle like a U shape. We are working on linear functions only, the function of a line, and it will always be y equals mx plus b. So if I'm trying to find my slope on all of these, it will always be right before the x. So on your pretest that you're doing, you should have your slope matching what's highlighted on here. Both of these are on Google Classroom. I provided you also with paper pencil. These were due the end of last week, so please make sure I get them before you move ahead to the next 2 assignments. We also know that my y-intercept is my b. So my b is here. Make sure you are noting positive and negative signs. Those are very important. This one says +1. This one is my y-intercept on here. Please make sure that if you color code it, it goes this way. And then please try to graph it. It's a pretest, so you're not going to know how to do it, but I can promise you, if you follow along and you do your work, by the time you have the test at the end, you will get 100%.